And to speak about with, this act not superseding any other laws, we had Section 62, which was withdrawn.
Correct.
Where it spoke to the publication of false statements.
Right.
And so the thinking at the time of the withdrawal was that we have laws that sufficiently deal with this.
Correct.
And you
Correct.
remain
Correct.
steadfast in that thought that we need not have this cover in the act.
Well, remember the spirit, and you said so eloquently that it made sense to have it all in one piece of legislation. So persons who understand that under COVID, you could cause mass hysteria. So it creates that responsibility of persons who have the means to disseminate information, whether it be on social media, whether it's the formal media houses, etc. Verify that information.
But was it only targeted at mainstream media houses?
Absolutely
Because
not. Absolutely.
in this dynamic age of social media, everyone is
There you go.
pretty much a walking media
go.
house.
There you go. You recall during the early days the panic which was caused when persons, there were some reports of deaths, and
Yes.
and they were coming from senior persons who you expect. When I say senior persons, I'm talking about senior technocrats, etc. Persons who you believe would have done their due diligence and determined the veracity of what they were putting out. And these persons were acting very irresponsibly. We've had cases of persons who have fallen ill at home for ailments that have absolutely nothing to do with COVID, and they've been targeted in their community, they've been isolated, etc., etc. So we've had, there was merit in doing it, but I had no issue with its removal in the final draft bill, which was presented to which was presented to Parliament.
Okay, but we still have monitoring
Oh yes,
and oversight over
yes.
information that comes out and
Correct.
being able to control.
Correct. And I encourage St. Lucia, let's be very responsible about this.
Because it's far-reaching.
Correct.
It is far-reaching.
Correct.
Let's talk about Section 57. Now that deals with individuals' medical information. That is another concern because people want to know what exactly is it that you're sharing about me with third parties. So what is what's being said correct, that the private medical information can be disseminated without one's knowledge?
So,
And do they need to agree for that information to be shared?
okay. So Section 57, again, I reference my encouragement to persons to read the entire section, because had they gone to subsection 2, section 57, subsection 2, where it says this in terms of the transfer of information, it shall not apply if the person has given his or her consent to the transfer. So if I agree to it, that is fine. Number 2, the transfer is necessary to safeguard public health and see the matter concerns public health. Let us use our example of the Vincentian. How would they have been able to trace where this individual worked, who that person would have been able to be in contact with? The public health, the interest of the public health trumped that person's need for privacy, because again, folks, we are dealing with COVID-19. It is silent, it does not discriminate. So as soon, and you see, we have the sharing of information between territories, and there are safeguards. The safeguards are that the country or territory to which the health information is being transferred has comparable safeguards to those in St. Lucia for the protection of the rights and freedom of a person in relation to the processing of health information. And the CMO has authorized the transfer of that health information to that person. So we have our internal measures to protect the identity of that person.
Because it's never published.
Exactly,
the identity is never published.
For instance, you have and in my conversations with persons in the medical field, that the AIDS, persons who have AIDS, then you have a code. So that is deciphered only by certain persons. So you will not have the access to that person's name. COVID is different because you do not AIDS would not be spread through contact, through a person coughing. I mean, we know the various ways that this COVID disease spreads. So it will be imperative that we know the identity of that person for the purpose of tracking down who else that person has been in contact with. There is no other way to do it.
So we need to know this is Jane.
Correct.
And Jane, were you with Tom? Did you shake hands with Paula and that sort of thing?
Correct.
So we need the names to do the contact tracing, go into the community, go to the work establishments and find these individuals.
Correct. And the controls is not is within the ministry. The technocrats who are trained to deal with that sort of information. No one is going on the airways to broadcast someone's name. Could someone tell me where Jane Doe is? This is not what it's about. The patient zero, the person who's afflicted, and the persons who have in the circles, you're going out and you're finding out who has been in contact with whom, so that they could try to arrest the spread of the disease.